Do you like high gas prices? I don't like high gas prices. That's why I'm making this video. So a little bit of backstory on this video. I did a video a few weeks ago. Basically, there was a news story that was suggested to me on YouTube where a member of the House of Representatives that represents California at the in Washington, D.C., was basically speaking on the House floor saying there was a study in the state of California suggesting that banning classic cars is a way to reduce emissions, which of course is a bad idea. Classic cars are a huge part of our culture here in California and a huge contributor to the economy. Well, in that video, while he's speaking on the House floor, he also mentions a bill that was passed, not a bill, but a new regulation that was passed by the California Air Resources Board, or CARB, basically requiring refiners to go to a even more stringent low carbon fuel emissions standard than is already set in place. Keep in mind, we have the strictest regulations already, which makes the price of our gas higher than anywhere else in the United States already. In fact, it becomes like a meme, like every time gas goes up, you see those pictures of the gas stations, $7, $8 a gallon or whatever they get to, the one in down by Union Station in downtown LA especially. But basically they're going to take what's already the strictest, most environmentally friendly nation, go even further, and at a time when most people are struggling, people aren't doing so well, and the economy's kind of terrible. And also, of course, interest rates are very high, which is hurting the economy as well. So now people are going to have to probably put gasoline on their credit cards that they can't afford to purchase. They're going to have to put off other purchases, and they're expecting people to go out and buy electric cars because the price of gas is higher, which, as we all know, they're not going to be able to do that because they're more broke because the price of gas is higher. So the whole thing just makes no sense when you really think about it. And also, even if you don't even drive, when fuel prices go up, it drives up the cost of everything in the state of California. That's your food, that's construction costs, that's the goods you buy, the things you order, your Christmas presents, my records for the jukebox. Now, I usually go out and get those locally. I've got enough of those, but that's beside the point. So what we're going to go into, I'm kind of glad I waited to post the original video I made on this topic, because this morning I woke up, I actually made a video yesterday, I woke up this morning, there was a new news story out of the CBS affiliate in Sacramento, where they interview the authors of two of the bills that are coming up to combat this, because there was no transparency when they did this. Originally, CARB had said, oh, it might raise the price of gas 47 cents. And then later on they came out and said, no, it might not raise the price of gas, which, as we know, you make refining gas more expensive, those costs are going to get passed on to the consumer. So let's face it. And also what I learned from the news story, which actually they didn't say when they showed a picture of whatever flyer, there is now a petition to get at least one of the Senate bill through basically an online petition. But in addition to the online petition, you should also send a message to your local representative letting them know that raising the price of gasoline in California even higher is really a bad idea. And you also got to remember, this is not a tax, so this money does not go to road repairs, which our roads suck here in California, as you know, if you've ever driven in California. They don't spend our road tax or registration fees on fixing the roads as much as they should. Which is, even though we pay the highest registration fees just about of any place in the United States, they spend the money on other stuff. But that's for another video. So we're gonna go into the video right now from the CBS affiliate, and then we're gonna talk about the bills.
Lawmakers face growing pressure to ease the pain at the pump.
Yeah, two GOP leaders with different proposals are calling on Democrats to meet them halfway. Your reporter Hunter Sowers joins us live, getting answers on what those bills would do. Hunter.
Yeah, the focus there, Tony, is really on the California Air Resources Board. They want to make sure that the prices at the pump are not impacted by the board's decision.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Californians crippled by sky-high gas prices.
It's a little bit
painful to the pocket.
Face another potential hike after a November vote by the California Air Resources Board. Initial estimates found the emission reduction plan could raise prices nearly 50 cents.
We have the highest gas prices in the nation, the highest electricity prices in the nation, and that's because of these rules.
2 Republican state lawmakers now taking aim at the board with 2 proposals.
Hunter, it's completely unbelievable and unacceptable the way this vote came down.
They need to balance competing policies.
Assemblyman Joe Patterson introduced AB 34, requiring an independent agency to oversee the Air Resources Board and come up with estimates of just how much their decisions could impact consumers.
Unelected bureaucrats in Sacramento are making these decisions, and there is nothing people can do to hold them accountable.
Senate Minority Leader Brian Jones wants to repeal the recent CARB vote entirely, releasing this graphic saying he wants to walk back the vote that came just 3 days after the election.
Voters sent a very clear message to the governor, the Democratic leadership, and to all of us that they're fed up with the cost of living in California.
The changes to low carbon fuel standards puts California closer to becoming carbon neutral by 2045, a move the governor supports.
This is part of the transparency and clarity for the public that we monitor the changes in gas prices.
CARB says if there is a significant spike to prices, they'll come back to the drawing board. But Patterson wants oversight in place before a vote ever happens.
All my bill does is bring more transparency to that process prior to them making the decision.
Patterson said all he is asking for is a hearing and a chance to debate his colleagues about his bill. As for Senator Jones, he says he's even been approached by Democrats who say that they agree and think something like this should be done.
All right, so the main one you need to know about is SB 2. That's Senate Bill 2. That's from the California Senate in Sacramento. That's the gentleman you saw in the video, Senator Brian Jones, who's also the Senate Majority Leader. So he's the Republican leader in the California Senate. He's out of the inland San Diego County area. And so basically what his one does is I could read I'll read some text from the bill because I did look these up. Actually, I read these a few times last night because I made the first video. So Section 2, this act is an urgency statute necessary for the immediate preservation of the public peace, health, or safety within the meanings of Article 4 of the California Constitution and shall go into immediate effect. The facts constituting the necessity are Californians need immediate relief from unnecessarily high gasoline prices that will be driven even higher by recent amendments to the low carbon fuel standard regulations. California consistently leads the nation with the highest gasoline prices, largely driven by excessive government taxes, fees, and regulations. And it is estimated that these recent amendments to the low carbon fuel standard regulations will increase the cost of gasoline by 65 cents. So this is in the bill. This is actually in the bill. So this is the senator's estimate from 65 cents to 85 cents, and this will worsen the current affordability crisis and decimate our economy. So that's what the bill says. Basically, it nulls and voids the amendment of the low carbon fuel emission standards. So essentially, it keeps those standards at what it is right now, which is already the strictest of anywhere. So it does not get rid of what we already have, but it basically says, oh no, we're not just going to raise the price of gas now when everyone's hurting. So that's Senate Bill 2. And this senator has also, Brian Jones, has the online petition, which I'll put a link in the video description, and you can go to that. And also what I will do is I will put a link to the Find My Legislator link, so anyone in the state of California can quickly look up who their local assembly person and Senate representative in the legislature in Sacramento, and you can contact them and send them a message as well. So do that in addition to the online petition. So that's what I'm going to say about that. So the second one that got mentioned in there was Assembly Bill 34. Now this is in the California Assembly. The other one was in the California Senate. So I would say don't send your assembly person a message about SB 2, and in reverse, don't send your assembly representative, don't send your assembly representative a message about SB 2, and don't send your Senate representative a message about AB 34 or the other two assembly bills. So this one, Assembly Bill 34, introduced by Assembly Member Patterson. He's a Republican out of Placer and El Dorado counties. Basically, all it says is CARB would have to analyze the cost of the consumer and present the findings to the legislature before approving any new regulations. So basically, they'd have to actually accurately and get someone to actually figure out how much this is actually going to cost the people, so they have some accountability on that before they can pass anything, and they can't just throw a number out there and later on say, well, it might not be, which is what happened with this one before, from what I understand. Assembly Bill 12 is introduced. This is a different Assembly bill. So basically, the last two are the two that were the authors, although the author of Assembly Bill 34 is also on one of these other bills, but on the Assembly Bill 12 one as well. So I would say the one that has the most chance would be Senate Bill 2, since it's being presented by the Senate Minority Leader, like I said, the leader of the Republicans in the California Senate. So he probably has more pulls, so it might actually get read. That's one thing I did mention when we were trying to get the bills passed to try to get the smog year moved up on classic cars. The problem we've been having is they just don't hear these on the actual floor. They don't listen to our arguments, and unfortunately that does happen, and that is a worry with any sort of bill that we try to get through these channels. So Assembly Bill 12, it's introduced by Assembly Members Wallace, Republican out of Riverside and San Bernardino County, Gallagher, Republican out of Chico, Yuba City, and Patterson, who we just heard from AB 34 and from the video, Republican from Placer, El Dorado counties, avoids amendments to the low carbon fuel regulations adopted by CARB. So it does the same thing that Senate Bill 2 is. But it doesn't sound like they're pushing that one. A lot of times there'll be multiple bills that are similar, and then they'll just try to focus on one. So I'm guessing the one they're going to try to focus in would be in the Senate, which is Senate Bill 2. There's another one. I'm not going to read the whole thing on that, but there's Assembly Bill 41 introduced by Assembly Member Machado out of Tulare, and basically that one says a similar thing where they would have to actually figure out the cost to the actual consumer before approving any of these things and present it to the legislature. That's Assembly Bill 41 if you want to look that up. I'm thinking the two main ones that, since those are the ones that are getting the media attention, main one would be SB 2 followed by AB 34, which is kind of like almost like an add-on to that, saying they would have to figure out how much this is actually going to cost people. And like I said, these were all these were introduced by Republican legislators right when the current session starts. Current session's the 2025-2026 session. So when you do look up these bills, you have to make sure you're looking up the correct year. Otherwise, it's going to come up as a bill from a prior year. And then in the future, if you do decide to look this one up, you have to make sure it's not a bill from the following year, one of the following years. If you were watching this video off into the future, and by then, who knows what happened? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. So that's what I have on that. So obviously, I would say make sure you contact your local representatives. We'll put that link. I'm going to put a link to the original video so you can watch the whole video. There's actually other news stories about this leading up to, even before they approved the regulation and afterwards. I really think raising the price of gasoline right now is a terrible idea for apparently what you're trying to get people in electric cars that they really can't afford. Let's face it, people shouldn't be taking out loans on vehicles that they can't afford. If you're going to buy a decent electric car, you figure they start at $50,000. Don't tell me about the Nissan Leaf. It has the range of like a Power Wheels or something. I mean, they're just, from what I understand, the range on those is absolutely horrific. But we're going to be keeping an eye on this because I guess I've kind of gotten myself into that, even though this started out as like the smog videos and trying to preserve classic cars because I usually film car shows. So I'll be keeping an eye on this, but I'm kind of glad I found that news story, found that online petition, and I can bring you a little bit more for this video. So like I said, be sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll try to keep everyone updated on this. Make sure you leave a like, leave some comments. Be nice in the comment section, please. Also, when you're sending messages to these people, be not. Don't like throw out like. Don't be calling people names and stuff. That's weird. You know, I don't think any of these representatives they want a nice like argument. You know, saying, hey, look, people are broke. You know, not don't go calling names. That's all I'm going to say. Be nice. But anyhow, until next time, I'll be seeing you.